In this video we'll work on Ruth chapter 3 verses 14 and 15. Okay, no issues. So Ruth lay until the morning near Boaz's feet. So Ruth lay near Boaz's feet until the morning. Okay, we've seen this before in a few other sentences in Ruth. These are generic obliques, not oblique 1, not oblique 2. They're not arguments of the verb. Both of these are obliques. And it's looking like English likes to put the locative obliques before the temporal obliques. So what we could do is we could add a feature to our prepositions and tag them as being either temporal, until would be a temporal preposition, and near would be a locative preposition. Then we could modify our phrase structure rule for clauses so that it puts the locative obliques before the temporal obliques. But in the past, earlier in Ruth, we've always said we'll let the MTTs do this editing, and let's say that again. Maybe we'll think about adding a feature for our prepositions, but not now. So we're going to say we'll let the MTTs edit this. Okay, get up. Let's edit this. That up should be a modifier. He got up. Has gotten up. Is getting up. Gets up. And the theta grid adjustment rule. Only an agent. I don't think we'll need this. Okay, recognize. Only an agent patient. I don't think we'll need this. Dark. I don't think we'll need this. Okay, the sense of be is for weather, or anything, the sky is dark, or the weather is dark. In English we always say it is dark, or it is raining, it is cold. So let's put the word weather in here. The word weather will always be the agent for the sense of the verb to be. So be sense O always has the word weather as the agent. And in the output we're going to tag this as a pronoun. So it'll be realized as it. She got up while it was still too dark. Okay, we don't need all of this. While it still was too dark so that people could not recognize each other, Ruth got up. She got up while it was still too dark. Okay, that does sound better to have the while clause after the main clause. We have while clauses. Okay, adverbial clause position is preposed. If we look at places where we've used while in the book of Ruth, okay, we had one other sentence in Ruth that used a while clause, Ruth 1:6. While Naomi was living in Moab, she heard that the Lord was taking care of his people. Okay, here it definitely sounds better to say while, to have this preposed, while Naomi was living in Moab. But here it sounds better to have it, have the while clause postposed. She got up while it was still too dark. There might be a couple of factors going on here. On this one here, while Naomi was living in Moab, that's ongoing action. That's tagged as a backgrounded event. While Naomi was living in Moab. If it's a backgrounded event, I think it does sound better to have the while clause preposed. But here, this isn't backgrounded, while it was still too dark. So let's go ahead and modify while clauses so that they're normally postposed. But if it's a backgrounded event, then we'll change while clauses so that they're preposed. So to do that, okay, up here we have our rule for all adverbial clauses, for all adverbial clause types, that preposed or postposed, and big pro. Okay, while, these are in alphabetical order. Okay, so while. Yeah, we have it set as preposed. Let's set it as postposed. And that will fix this sentence. But then we'll go back and fix that other one in Ruth chapter 1. Okay, Ruth got up. Okay, she got up. Let's tell it to ignore Ruth. She got up while it was still too dark. While it still was too dark. So that people could not recognize each other. Couldn't. Okay, let's write a rule to contract couldn't. Okay, we want a leading space and a trailing space. Leading space and a trailing space. Okay, let's again ignore this pronoun problem. She got up while it was still too dark. She got up while it still was too dark. Okay, the location of still. We have this tagged as preverbal. John is still in the library. Have we used still somewhere else in the book of Ruth? Okay, Ruth 2:14. And she still had more grain. She still had more grain. There, it's definitely better to have it preverbal. This is fine. This is the type of issue that we'll leave for the MTTs when they're editing the text. Ruth got up while it still was too dark. That's close enough. So let's go to the next sentence. No issues. Generated text is identical. That's the last sentence. Okay, we still have this issue. Let's tell it to ignore all of this. Okay, and we're going to let the MTTs clean up this, reposition the word still. So this is fine. Let's save it and go to the next verse. Oh, we never did fix that other sentence in with while. Let's find that. Okay, while. We used it in one other place in Ruth. Okay, Ruth 1:6. Let's go to Ruth 1:6. Okay, while Naomi was living in Moab, and you can see this is tagged as a backgrounded action. So let's write a rule that says, okay, so while clauses are now postposed, but if it's a backgrounded event, we want to change the while clause to preposed. So let's go here, subordinate clauses. If a preposed adverbial clause is in a relative clause, let's make this one more generic. Okay, let's add another structure, and we don't need that. Okay, this will be, it's an event modifier, and it will be a while clause. Temporal while. And let's say, if this is a backgrounded event, which is under salience band, we don't use very many of these salience bands, but backgrounded is one that we definitely use. So if a clause is a while clause and it's backgrounded, then we want to set it to preposed. Okay, while Naomi was living in Moab. Okay, now we still need to insert that trailing comma. Okay, trailing comma isn't there, so we can type it. Okay, so now this sentence is fine again. And if we go back to Ruth 3:13, no, 3:14. Okay, while. Okay, so this sentence is also fine. Okay, so now we're ready for verse 15. Okay, wearing. Only an aged and patient. I don't think we'll need this. Bring. Okay. The servants brought the cups from the temple to the palace. And there's also a beneficiary. The women brought food for the family. Okay. Let's make this an oblique 1. With from, an oblique 2, and let's get rid of some of this that we don't need. Okay, generated text is identical. Hold. Okay, Ruth held the shawl for Boaz. Moses held the stick with his hand. And hold it for me, and hold your shawl for me. That's fine. Pour. Okay. Genesis 24:20. Rebekah poured water into the trough for the camels. And we see that the destination noun phrase includes the preposition into. So we don't need to supply the preposition. So we'll say the destination is oblique 1, but we won't provide a preposition. Beneficiary is oblique 2 with the word for. Okay, 23. I don't think we'll need this rule. And if we converted kilograms, 23 kilograms, then Boaz poured, let's tell it to ignore the pronoun problem, about 50 pounds, okay, 23 kilograms. Okay, so let's go to our rule that does metric conversions right here. Okay, this is for meters. Okay, we don't have 23 here yet, so okay, when we have a table set up like this, we say add words. And we add 23. Then in the output we say add word. And now we can select 23 and we can enter 50. Do we have, okay, we don't have 50 yet. Let's add it. And Boaz poured, then he poured, okay, that's fine. Contain. The box contains food for animals. Okay. And Boaz put on Ruth's back the shawl that contained that barley. And he put on that back. Okay, that's fine. Then Boaz returned to the town. Then he returned to that town. That's fine. That's the last sentence. Generated text is identical. Let's save it. And we're ready for verse 16.